So because his left side is significantly better, I want to start on that side. And pretty much the same concepts as all the other desensitizing that we've been doing. You simply want to let them see it, let them get an idea for it. And I personally love the saddle pads that have the wither cutout, because I can hold it right in that wither cutout, and I can pull it on and off, I can throw it on and off, both sides while holding this kind of wither cutout, and it's a heck of a lot easier than trying to throw around a saddle pad that doesn't have one. And it also gives a little bit of wither relief on some of these horses like him that has a pretty decent wither, and his has some fat pockets around it, so it'll give a little bit more cushion for him without the saddle sitting right down on his wither. So step one is going to be to lift it up here and rub it on him. And then I'm simply going to take it and we're going to toss it up there. And I'm going to let it sit there for a second or two, rub his neck, rub his face. If he was to dance around when I first threw that up there, then I would just simply pull it down, and we would keep going back and forth with it like we were doing with the rope earlier in the video, trying to get him okay with the girth rope. And then we're going to take it down. And then I'm going to immediately throw it right back up there. Position it, shuffle it around a little bit, because obviously when you go to throw a saddle on there, you're going to be playing with the pad. So you want to make sure that he's going to be okay with this pad moving all over. I hope my saddle's wide enough for this big boy. There. And down. And up. And down. And up. Keep going. Obviously he's pretty good with this side, so now we're going to go to the challenging side and see what happens. I'm hoping he'll be good, but his track record's kind of showing that he might be a little spooky. So again, lift it up, rub it on the shoulder. He's keeping a nice neutral level head, so that's good. And toss it up there. So right there, that proves that one, our desensitizing for the last half hour has been relatively successful. And two, it's ropes specifically that we have a fear of in this guy, not other things. I could throw a saddle pad up here, no problem. I was able to probably be able to throw the Surcingle on here, no problem. It's the ropes that seem to be a little nerve-wracking, so we'll keep working on that. Because I got to make sure he's not going to be afraid of my tools. So down and up. Shuffle it around a little bit. Down and up. As he gets more relaxed with this, I'm going to kind of swing it right around to my hip and bring it right back up. I want to kind of overemphasize the swinging of the pad. If it bops him somewhere else, like in the nose, and it reacts, I'm not really going to pay too much attention to it. I'm just going to kind of keep his head with me. I'm going to leave it up there this time, come around to this side, and repeat that kind of little bit of over-exaggerated swinging. Perfect. the next step is the surcingle, and I'm going to do that without the pad to start with. Not necessarily to put it on him without the pad, but I want to sock him out to it first without the pad. So, whoop, easy bud. So we're already a little nervous about it. That's fine. I'm going to ask him to step back up. I'm going to let him see it. If he wants to. I'm probably going to have to let this down a hole, so I'm going to do that preemptively before I get it on him. And again, I'm going to start on the left side. Rub it on him. Toss it up there. Going to be careful not to let the cinch fall down just yet. So down and up. Down and up. Good boy. Down and up. Now I want to come to this side, do the same thing. And again, I'm kind of keeping that cinch in my hand because it's a what I'm going to call a Western surcingle, so this cinch can actually come on and off, swap out for different sizes, and it cinches up like a Western saddle. So I'm just going to make sure he's okay, rub him a little bit, and up and over. Good boy. Shuffle it around a little bit like we did with the saddle pad, and off, and up, and off, and up, and I'm going to let that cinch fall down now. Kind of position it, see if that's going to be where I need it to be, and it's going to be. Shuffle it around a little bit. We should be good to get the saddle pad. Up with the cinch, down with the cinch. Up with the cinch, down with the cinch. And whole thing off. So now is where we're going to talk about a little bit of saddle etiquette at the same time as we're doing this, because the rules of the game are the same. Ooh, easy. Honey, out. Sorry, the dog's just behind the round pen there. So the rules of the game are exactly the same with this as a saddle. Once I start, you want to finish the job as smoothly and as quickly as possible without being too rough. So I'm just going to throw the pad up there to start with. Come around to this side for the surcingle, because the cinch is on this side. I'm going to let that down. Make sure the surcingle is positioned where it needs to be. Come back to this side. So as of yet, I'm not committed. And the same thing is going to go for saddling, and we'll reiterate all these steps when we're saddling them for the first time. Or, well, when we are saddling them for the first time. So I like how he's standing. He's nice and relaxed. He's not overly worried. He's got a little bit of tension in his face here, especially in his nostrils. His one nostril sitting a little higher than the other. But overall, he's relatively relaxed. So the next step is going to be to let this ladder go down. And you can see that I have a relatively short feel on his head. That is because if anything goes sideways, I need to be able to kick his hip around, disengage that hip. And right now, if he was to have a moment and explode, this stuff's just going to fall off. So yes, I'll have to re-sack him out to it because it's probably going to fall off and spook him, but it's better than it slipping and him getting in a wreck. Alright, so now that we've got that sorted, we're going to go right back to where we were. So again, I'm going to hold that against his belly, thread my latigo through, properly positioned, give, or take some pressure, give it back to him. Take some pressure, give it back to him. And now I'm committed, because now I'm going to cinch it up. Once I thread it through this top ring, I got to get the job done. I want this relatively tight so that if he does react, we're not going to have any problems, and this latigo is too short. Alright, so that's about as tight as it's going to be. That latigo's a little short. I should have let the cinch down just another hole, but you're already committed, so you kind of got to go, and we're going to have to make it work. It's just a surcingle, so we shouldn't have too much of an issue. So, now is when you want to make sure that they have a really good sending exercise, because I'm going to send them out around me, and whatever happens, happens. Good boy. And if nothing's happening, I'm just going to stay nice and calm. I don't necessarily want anything to happen, but I would give him that leeway that one time if he wanted to buck. But so far so good. So I'm going to let him trot out. He's staying pretty relaxed through his body. Just going to send him back out. And then I'm going to ask him to disengage that hip. And we're going to approach him carefully. Double check that cinch, make sure it's tight enough. Easy. See, now we're getting a little upset. Easy. Yep, so it got a little loose on me, so I would like to tighten it up one hole. Keeping a pretty short feel on his head. Holding his shoulder. And he puffed up on me, so I'm not going to be able to get it any tighter. Bugger. I probably need to go and add a couple more holes to this Surcingle and the latigo, because the holes are a couple inches apart and I need about a hole right in the middle. So I'm just going to let him trot out again. Let's keep it nice and relaxed. I like how he's keeping that ear and head on me. And this is probably the most relaxed trot we've had since he got here. And that's actually great, considering that he's now got something strapped to him. So I'm going to change direction, slide up the lead, bring him in. Change direction. There we go. Perfect. I want him to, ideally I would like that to grab him at least once, with him moving quick to see when his reaction is going to be. He slipped in a little bit of manure right there. Just going to send him off the other way. We got lots of rain last night, and we've got more on the way, so he's probably getting a little, there's a little slip in here. And disengage. Oh, yep. Easy. Perfect. And that's pretty much all I do the very first time they have a surcingle on. It's way too slippery in here today to lope without risking him falling or hurting himself, so I'm not going to lope him. Not today anyway. But for a first time with the surcingle, that's pretty good. I'll put the surcingle on him one more time. We'll lope him in here, and then we'll bring out the saddle. Because the only saddle I have that's going to fit him is a 40-pound ranch saddle. So I want to make sure, through sacking out to the surcingle and the pad and the cinch and all that pressure, that hopefully, and he will, stand still long enough for me to be able to have everything on him without him exploding. And that's obviously what we're working towards, and based on his reaction right now, it shouldn't be a problem at all. So taking it off is exactly the same procedure. I'm going to bring him up here a little bit. Easy. So you want to be nice and smooth taking it all off, but pretty much once it's out of the latigo, you're relatively safe. So, I'm going to let down the latigo. I'm going to keep a relatively good feel on his head. I'm going to scratch his neck. The reason I have my hand on their neck or on their shoulder is if he goes to jump into me, I can push myself away. Because if something's bound to happen to where it's going to be that explosive, I don't want to be in his way. So I can push myself off. So I'm just going to wiggle the tongue of the cinch out of the latigo, and I'm just going to let it down. And there, we're out of the woods now. If he was to go and buck or explode, saddle pad, Surcingle's gonna fall off. I can work on keeping him to me, and then we just repeat the process to get him relaxed again. But obviously, we're nice and calm. But not every horse is necessarily going to be that way. Need a little bit of oil in that latigo as well, so I guess that's what I'm doing after this video. Gonna fling that up. Good job. Gonna take it off on this side in one smooth movement. And then we're gonna take the pad off, same thing, one smooth movement. There. Good boy. Now he's like, what on earth did you do to me? Alright, so that kind of shows you guys the steps through the process anyway for the Surcingle, saddle pad, and the girth rope. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, or you can message us through our Facebook page. And there's tons more videos on our Facebook page as well with a variety of horses. Just most of them are kind of training updates, so they don't really have like my commentary to go with it as to what I'm doing with them. But they are fun videos to watch. And if you like the look of Xerxes and you want to follow his training, that'll be where most of his updates will be posted outside of this Groundwork series. So thank you for watching, and we will see you guys with the next video.